everyone. This is Alfredo with Real Talk, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with an attorney here in our great city of Las Vegas. We're going to talk about with Danielle Miller. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good,
Thank
good.
you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I follow you on social media, and I've seen some of your videos. I'm like, she seems like a fun attorney. I said, we should talk to her, see what's going on.
It's an oxymoron, right? A fun attorney?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look at it, I'm like, is she an attorney? But you know what? That's good, though. Because I think nowadays, and I don't want to speak bad about anything, but the profession itself makes people different, I guess,
Absolutely.
or maybe portray a different.
Definitely,
aspect.
I feel like people think attorneys, button up, suit and tie, and that is true. I mean, there are a ton of attorneys like that, but I have never wanted to be that. I am not that. I'm just very normal, very simple.
That's good though.
And yeah, I would like to get away from that.
Somebody. It's funny you say that. Like you want to be normal and you want to be yourself, but like somebody asked me even the other day, like, you're a realtor and that's how you dress. I'm like, how am I supposed to dress? Like, I didn't know there was a dress code for that, right? But it's good that you do that because people relate to that, and people are more. You seem more approachable. Let's put it that way.
And that's the point.
I would not text or approach other attorneys that I know just because I know that they're not as funny maybe or approachable.
Definitely.
But that's good though. That's good that you implement that and you show that on your social media.
Definitely. And I try to show that on every aspect of my life. You know what I'm saying? Even with my clients, I try to be kind of casual with them. I'll cuss, sometimes.
Yeah, that's fine.
And they're like, oh, okay. She's down to earth. Yeah, because you want to make people, they're going through such a stressful time in their life. They're injured. They don't know what they're going to do. They're unsure of themselves. So just me being able to be like, hey, I'm going to connect with you. You can talk to me. You can feel comfortable with me. It's so important. It goes a long, long way when it comes to your relationships.
That's
with your
good.
clients.
Yeah, building relationships. And well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time and accepting the invitation and accepting my message because I DM'd like, hey, I got an idea.
I know.
And it could have been a weird message.
I was like, because you said, hey, I have an idea, and that was it. And I'm like, all right. So that was funny.
Well, it was good because I'm like, did I send the wrong message? But it was cool that you answered. Now we're here. So, first of all, I read your story, your bio. I read a little bit about you. Yeah. Latina.
Yes.
I didn't
my
know
mom
that.
is Central American.
Yeah, Panama.
Yes.
Panamanian.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good. I didn't know that about you. So
Nobody does. Nobody does.
You go.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I can see it now.
Yeah, of course. Everybody always says, oh, yeah. And it's funny when I go to Panama, I look at people, I'm like, oh, my gosh, you guys look just like, because Panama is such, you have Colombia. So my grandma was Colombian. Mm-hmm. You have such a mix. You have, the Haitians, you have, very light eyes, Venezuelans, and it's just a conglomerate. People
Panama's
now
changed so much right now.
It's changed so much. So but when I go, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people that look like me. It's a good feeling.
So I guess there's now different ways that I can approach the conversations we're having because obviously I had one thing that I wanted to bring about, but now it makes more sense being African American and Latina, right? So, but first of all, tell me about you a little bit. Tell us about you a little bit. I mean, obviously, I read from Omaha and then Colorado. I'm like, she just likes to zone. I don't know what she's doing in Las Vegas.
Everybody, it's like, how did you go from here to here to here? So my dad was in the Air Force.
Okay.
And he joined the Air Force pretty young, and then eventually he was stationed in Panama, and that's where he met my mom. And then, very cool. I think in the military, I think it happens a lot. There you go. Yeah, and thank you for your service.
No, that's
seriously.
My pleasure.
I love, just doesn't matter what branch. It's just a collective of just camaraderie. And your service is amazing. So then they got stationed in Nebraska, and that's where I was born. And then, of course, being in the air, being a service member, you get stationed everywhere all the time. And then eventually we got the last place, where my dad was stationed subsequently, in other places, but where I pretty much stayed was Colorado. And I lived there junior high, high school, college. And then I ended up going to law school in Nebraska. That was not the plan. Actually, it kind of was the plan. So Nebraska has a dual program to get your PhD in psychology and your law degree because I wanted to be a forensic psychologist.
So 2 for 1.
2 for 1, absolutely. The best in the country. There's not very many, schools that have that. So I applied to the program. I did not get accepted into the PhD program, but then I got accepted to law school, which worked out because I mean, I've been told forever that
You
I would
could
make
argue?
it. Oh yeah,
You could make a
like I
statement?
was just a little brat, like I must have been. But yeah.
So
my
was
whole
that on
life.
your radar when you were a kid?
No.
To be an attorney? Not even?
What kid wants to be an attorney?
I don't know. I mean, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
I wanted to be. I love to read, so I wanted to do something with English or be a writer. But then I was
Literature.
like, yeah, for sure. And then once I started getting into psychology, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to just dig into people. You know what I'm saying? Analyze people, figure them out. So really, forensic psychology is what I wanted to do.
Did you get the? I did mock trial.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's as far as I got to.
I can see that.
I actually did wanted to be an attorney. I did wanted to be an attorney.
Really?
I did, yeah.
As a kid?
As a kid,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Well,
Why?
I mean, in high school, I wanted to.
Why? What did you like about it?
I like mock trial.
Okay.
And I actually happened to do the O.J. Simpson trial. We did the O.J. Simpson trial that time, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I won, by the way.
Well, round of applause.
But, okay, so you wanted to be in literature.
At one point, yes.
You said, attorney, yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I got into law school. I just felt like all the signs were really pointing there. And
So you were doing law school in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Omaha.
Omaha. No, actually Lincoln. Lincoln is where the law school is, yeah.
And
my dad got stationed. So after
in Nebraska
no,
again?
he got stationed from Colorado to Vegas.
Okay, that was okay.
Yes,
so that's how you got
that's
here.
how I made it here. I followed my parents out here.
You're like, oh, I want to go.
Well, what's this? Nebraska versus Las Vegas.
I don't know. I mean,
It's a tough
Nebraska,
call, right?
Colorado. What other places were you stationed at, or were you guys at?
Right, where I
were
I
you
didn't have a
stationed?
choice. We lived in Japan, Yokota
Okay,
Air Force
yeah,
Base.
yeah.
Yes, we used to go to the Navy base. I think it was Yokosuka all the time. We'd go
Yokosuka,
there
yeah.
and shop. Yeah. We weren't stationed in South Korea, but we would travel.
Okay.
Travel there.
Yeah.
We were stationed in Albuquerque.
New
Yeah,
Mexico?
and then also Michigan, and that base is closed. Oscoda, Michigan.
Yeah, I never been to that
it
one.
was. I don't even know. Yeah, it was.
There was a
blip.
base in Michigan. Okay.
And then that's pretty much
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So you come to Vegas.
Yes.
Now, when you moved to Vegas, you already had your degree.
I did. Well, I hadn't yet. My dad got stationed in Vegas, I think, when I was in college, right before I
Okay.
started college. So I'd come out here and visit.
Got it.
And at the time, he was working for a tow truck company.
Okay.
And there was a law firm that was involved with the tow truck company somehow. I won't name names, but their intermediary between the tow truck company and the firm was like, hey, I can get you a job at this firm doing personal injury. Personal injury is huge in Vegas. You may want to consider it. In law school, I was not considering.
Right.
I didn't even really know what it is because law school doesn't really teach you.
Yeah, you were just
I'm
books
just,
and
exactly.
reading.
That's all that it is.
Okay.
So he reached out about that, and I was like, okay, that's something I would consider. So from that point in law school, it's kind of always been in my back of my head. Okay, that's an option, mainly because it's big here in Vegas. So that was something I always thought about after moving, and then throughout my years. And
So where did you get your degree at the end?
At University of Nebraska,
So
Lincoln.
you did finish in
I did
Nebraska.
finish law school.
Okay.
Yep, there.
Now, what would you say to people like, I mean, there is a perception, and I'm sure there is, that being an attorney is hard. Like getting to get that degree to be an attorney is hard. I mean, I'm sure you got a process after that with the bar and all this. But I mean, was it hard for you?
It was hard. What I didn't like, and it's looking back now, I don't feel like law school teaches people what it's like to be an attorney.
I don't think anything teaches you anything.
Is it the same for everything
I mean,
else?
I remember when I was in corrections after military, and when you get to the academy, right, and then you get to the actual prison where you're working at, and they're like, yeah, that's not how we do it here.
Totally different.
Right. So
Totally
I'm like,
different.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know there's practice and there's books,
Right.
but shouldn't they be teaching you practice?
Law school was all theoretical.
Right.
And it had, I'm the type of person, I need examples. I need real life examples. I need to imagine myself doing the things.
I need to mock trial this shit right now.
ASAP, right now, to get it to stick.
Yeah.
So law school, it was all conceptual. And I had a hard time grasping that. It does teach you how to think more analytical.
Right.
But I feel like if you could put that more into practice in law school, it would help you understand the material better.
Got it. So, I mean, I know that not anybody can do it.
Right.
It's hard. I know it's hard.
I don't know. Kim Kardashian did it.
Well, I mean, did she really? I mean, let's think about this. Did she really? I have my doubts about that. But what I'm saying is that sometimes goals seems so far away and so hard. And sometimes people don't want to go through the hassle of all that, right?
Yeah.
But then there's the people that really want to do it and they don't have the means. So now let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, law school is expensive.
It's expensive, definitely.
And I don't know if you want to tell me, but how do you manage that?
Well, and it was worse for me because I was paying out of state. I was, I had.
Oh, it was more expensive.
Yeah, I was technically a Colorado resident going to law school in Nebraska. It was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it.
Okay.
There are, and I don't know much about the law school here. I have a general idea. UNLV, yeah. There are ways. I mean, there's scholarships. Look at scholarships, grants. Stay in state.
Yeah.
I went to if you can. But there are ways to do it, absolutely. And especially for students of color, there are so many, because that's something law schools have always wanted to build up. It is definitely a white male-dominated profession. Has been for a very, very, very long time. Yes. And they do, I think... I know I want to see a change. I know I want to see, more. With women, it's getting more equal as far as that. But as far as, attorneys of color, Latino, Black, there's just not enough. Yeah. So they do offer opportunities. It's not affirmative action or whatever people think it is. It's just really trying to build a more diverse. Because everything is looked at differently, especially students of color have a different perception on how they see the legal system. Right. And how they see the laws and how they play out for different races and cultures. And we need that perspective in the profession and in law school.
And now that you brought that up, might as well get into that. Inclusion and diversity and all this. Was there challenges you had to face with, being a minority?
And that was the thing in my law school.
We can call ourselves minorities.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In law school, they were adamant about bringing in more students of color. Okay. In fact, one summer I was a student teacher. They brought in some students from HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, to just come and check out the campus, see if they'd want to come there. And I was the student teacher, trying to show them, hey, you can get a great education. It's not the most diverse town. Everybody was very nice. I loved living in Lincoln. But you can get a great education. And, there's all these benefits you can get. They're willing to give you scholarships. They're willing to really kind of foot the bill for most of your law school bills. So why not take advantage of that? So I think a lot of law schools, this was 20 years ago. Right. So I'm sure it's even better now as far as them trying to. I hope so. If not, we have a serious problem.
Yeah, we need to check that out better.
I know. Let me get the statistic.
Let me look into that.
So I didn't think I faced challenges in law school. In my life, of course, absolutely. But I feel like my law school was so proactive at wanting to make the students of color feel comfortable, welcome, and inclusive. Yeah. Definitely.
Now, what about, you say you didn't go through that in college, but what about now? I mean, do you see that it's a problem? Yeah. Or do you see that there's issues that you're facing?
Oh, definitely.
Is like, how do we handle this?
Well, as a brand new attorney, it's intimidating. Yeah. It is, especially when you're the only Black person sitting in the courtroom sometimes.
Black, Latina,
thank
women.
You. Exactly.
You're like, you got all the check boxes.
I'm a mess. I got all the things. I got all the hurdles. Yeah. But sometimes there'd be two women in the whole courtroom, and I would definitely be the only Black woman, Black person. So, there, and you can maybe speak on this too, what your experience is, because I'm curious. Right. Feeling like you definitely have to do better. You have to perform well.
You have to.
Because even just the littlest mistake, you don't get a pass for that.
No, and people generalize.
They do.
If you screw up, everybody's a screw up.
You are the representative for all the things. Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard. And people, when I tell them that, they're like, how do you know? You know, because you see it. You compare, you notice the disparities. So it was that pressure, of course.
How do you overcome that pressure?
I don't think you ever do.
You still have it?
Well, no, now that I have my own law firm, I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah. I don't think you ever do. I don't think
there's always that fear.
Do you? I'm curious.
No, I think you're right. I mean, we always have that fear that we have to treat our clients better than anybody else because we're always being looked at.
Yes.
There's always judgment. Yes. There's always that rhetoric that, the community, at least in the Latino community, we have that problem that, the scams. And that's all they want to do, right? So we have to always overcome that.
Yeah. You have to break that perception, that stereotype.
But it never does, though.
No.
It never does.
I think this is how it's just going to, when you notice that, because I'm sure you notice that even at a young age, oh my gosh, I have to perform better and do all the things better. Once that's in you, I don't know if it ever goes away.
No, I think we're always looking to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's just ingrained in our mind that we have to, because of what we went through, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yep, it is hard.
It is hard.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend the next X amount of years, always trying to prove myself. But, I mean, it look at how far we come doing that. It gives you that drive.
But you know what? Even as successful as you can be having your own law firm, there's still that, though.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Now it's not about, the attorney can screw up because she's, black or a woman or Latino.
Right.
But now she has a firm. Oh, her firm's not good because she's black. So there's still
that. It
regardless
never goes
of what
away.
level you're in.
Exactly. No, even if I go to court now and I have my own firm, I still have other people looking at me. The judge is making sure, I'm doing everything great. Even my clients. What if my clients aren't, black or Latino? I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe they have these stereotypes about black people and I, as their attorney, have to kind of diffuse that so that they realize, or prove myself. Yeah.
It's so funny. We're talking about this and I just realized just what happened with the administration lately where they took all these DEI programs and now they're blaming things because, DEI, because they're not fit.
Yeah.
And that is just what we're talking about.
It's the same exact thing. I mean, sometimes people just don't even look at your qualifications. They just assume you got here because you were a person of color or whatever.
They just base you on the cover.
Exactly.
And
it's unfortunate because I can say I feel like I'm much better attorney than some of the other ones who don't fit in the, DEI category or not, attorneys of color.
Have you had any experiences because of diversity? Have you had any experiences that you seriously couldn't do anything? You were so mad and you're like, I can't believe this shit is happening.
Yeah. Excuse me, I shouldn't say all the time, but yes, I did. Yes, there were some times in some places that I worked where I was like, I can't believe that this person can literally get away with murder. Yeah. And I'm sitting over here, I can't even fart. You know what I mean? I can't even do anything basic because it's like, no, she didn't. Yeah. Pretty much every firm I've worked at. Wow. And just overall, just in being some, in some networking events or conferences, you do feel that. Yeah.
So let's talk about your business a little bit now.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we can talk about that.
All day. There's not enough time.
Yeah, but let's talk about your business. Why focus on personal injury?
Well, I did. So when I first started practicing, I did business litigation. It was around the recession, and 2008. Everything was being foreclosed on. Everybody, nobody had money to pay their commercial rent. They had personal guarantees on a lot of their lease spaces, and it was so impersonal. It was like, okay, I'm just moving papers around. I'm not interacting with people. And then it was sad, too. These are people who they were entrepreneurs. They were small businesses who were really trying to make a difference. And just like that, everything, was gone for them. So that, I did not like that, having to foreclose on, whatever property they had. So I just really wanted to be around people more. Okay. And I like people. I feel like I have a decent personality, You do.
You have a good personality at that.
To interact with them like, hey. Yeah. But just to feel like you were helping, definitely. Yeah. Because it is very, very stressful being injured and you just don't know what to do.
How do you tell a scam from? Because I'm sure I'm sure you had people come over to you.
You would not believe how many, especially when I opened my firm, I was getting so many emails like, I have this problem. I mean, it was like, I live in Nigeria.
Oh yeah, those.
It was, and there was one that I almost fell for, and I was like, this is not adding up. Like I'm trying to call him. Yeah. The phone's not ringing. He says this is his name, but his voice sounds like a completely different nationality. Yeah. It was a mess. But yeah, you get a lot of them.
What's your most curious or funny case you had about, and I'm sure you can't tell anyone, but the most curious case you had, I can't believe that stick.
Oh my gosh. So, and I talked about this, I can't remember what show I talked about this on. It was so random. These clients, they were cousins. They didn't even live here. They lived in California, but they were here for the CES conference last January. And they had went to a casino and ate Chinese food. And there was Brillo pads. Like, apparently, and I didn't know this until I got their case and researched it. When you go to Chinese restaurants, they clean the wok with just, it's like a seasoned, you know what I'm saying? So they just wipe it down with like a Brillo pad, but the little shards sometimes get stuck in the wok. And those little Brillo pad shards were in their food. They ate them, ingested them. They had, bloody bowels, bloody urine. I mean, it was just horrible throat irritation, indigestion. And they found nobody would take their case. Nobody would take their case. So finally they called the state bar and were like, hey, we need an attorney to take our case. I don't know how the state bar even came up with me, referring them to me because I was brand new. I don't even know if my firm had been open 2 weeks yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they reached out to me and I thought that was a scam. Because he sent me an email. I'm like, this just does not sound right. This is a joke.
It's like a beginner's joke, right?
Does that not sound absolutely ridiculous?
It does, yeah.
So I was like, let me call and see. So I called. And he was the nicest man. He was like, I'm just begging you. Can you help me and my cousin? Yada, yada, yada. So I did. And I got them a really, really, really great settlement, which I needed at the time because I had just opened.
That's good.
And, you have all those upfront costs. And they're so grateful. They actually, one of them called me the other day and it's like, my son is injured. I'm like, but he's in California. I am not licensed there. But the fact that they remember me and call me just
like
for
the source
anything.
now.
I am.
Yeah.
But they're just the nicest guys. And they're like, when we come to Vegas, we're going to take you to dinner. I'm like, as long as it's not Chinese.
Are there any, do you look at some cases and you're like, you know what, I can't take this. I don't want to take this.
I had one yesterday. I have... Oh, gosh. I would probably say out of every 10 calls I get, I can maybe take 1 or 2.
Got it.
Because and I'm glad you brought that up. I love that because some people think that they have a claim that's not really a claim just because they don't understand it. For example, there was a guy who got food poisoning. He had to miss his flight. He didn't have any, medical bills, nothing. But he's like, well, I was inconvenienced. I had to change my flight. That's not a personal injury claim. Things like that people just don't really understand. But I do always make it a point to take the time to explain to them why. Right. Because I don't want them to think I'm just blowing them off. And I'm like, I'm just not going to take your case. I'm not going to take it. And here's why. And they're always so grateful that I took the time to do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you read a lot? Well, I'm sure you do.
No, I can't after loss for pleasure or anytime.
For maybe relaxation.
I have to read for work, obviously. I don't love that.
It's a lot of reading.
It's a lot of reading. But after all those years of reading, college, law school, I can't read for pleasure.
Okay.
I'll read.
Was there a book ever that you read that you're like, this is my life now?
You mean as far as like a biography on like what
Something
life is like?
Similar, yeah. Of what you're going through and the stuff you hear and all that.
I don't think so.
No?
It's too crazy. My life is too crazy in the stuff I go through.
Was there a book ever that maybe changed your life that you're like, you know what, this inspired me?
Oh, so as I'm sure, I know you know who this is. Do you know who Admiral William McRaven is?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All of his books.
Okay.
I love not all of his books. He has one that's like fiction, but he has one called The Power of the Bullfrog, which talks about leadership, being a great leader. He has the other one, Make Your Bed, which is Make Your Bed, yeah, because that is important.
The famous Making Bed.
But I'm sure you knew you had to make your bed every morning. It had to be nice and tight.
And it's so funny is when I was telling my daughter too about going to school. You know what? The school system is not about teaching you 1+1.
It's not at all.
It's about responsibility. It's about showing up. It's about following instructions.
And following it, standing in line.
Right.
I didn't know in kindergarten the reason I was taught to stand in line, but now,
you got patience.
You got to have patience. A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you give entrepreneurs? Maybe people in your business or maybe in studying right now to be in law school that at one point they dream of having their own law firm.
Just do it.
And stop watching Suits, right?
It's nothing like that. It's worse. Just do it. Just do it. get a little bit of experience, understanding the ins and outs, because like we just discussed, law school doesn't teach you that. Get a little bit of experience, going to court, taking some depositions, getting a couple cases under your belt, and just open your firm,
Now, when you say go to court, just kind of go and check it out and listen.
You can go and
learn,
listen,
right?
if you don't have anything, in front of the judge for him to hear on your case. Just go check it out. Intern if you're in law school. Get an internship.
Offer internships?
I don't right now, but I will at some point. Because I will at some point. I think because I get a lot of calls from students are like, hey, I'm in law school. Can I intern? I'm like, oh, not right now. Just because I'm gonna have to set aside some time to get to have like a plan for them, and I haven't had time to do that.
Funny story. I'll tell you a story. Just because you're an attorney. Mm-hmm. So when I was in the military, I was stationed in San Diego.
Okay.
George Washington School of Law. It's in San Diego. I applied to that. And that was one of the only, I don't know now, but this is like 20 years ago, 20-some years ago. That was one of the only law schools that would accept people without the credits.
Oh, okay.
But you have to go through a board and oral interview and all that stuff. So I did. I signed up for it. But just happened to be that my appointment was when I was deployed.
Oh, my gosh.
So I missed it.
Oh, no.
And I just never went back to it. It was like, let it go. And I was like...
It's not too late.
No, it is very late. I'm tired. I can't read anymore.
Right? I got bills.
Somebody tells me, like, do you read? You know what? I do audiobooks.
Lifesaver.
Because if I read...
Me too. One page and I'm out like a light. Surefire way to get me to fall asleep. Lose my page.
And then if you give me a book, I'll finish it like in 10 years. Maybe like a paragraph a night. And that's
even that.
Right? Yeah, no. So I know being an attorney, it has a lot of... perks too.
Yes.
Tell me some of the perks.
Some of the perks. Well, everybody wants your business.
Well,
so they're like, oh, let's do dinner. Let's do lunch. What are some of the other perks?
Oh, there's chiropractors.
Yeah. Some of the perks are just, I do feel, and my best friend totally uses this to her advantage. You have a little bit more authority.
Okay.
Just when things happen around the way. For example, like we were out somewhere and we almost got kicked out. Or we actually did get kicked out. But here she's like, oh, my best friend's an attorney. Danielle, like, go do something. And I managed to do something. I don't know why. It's just this perception like, oh, an attorney has authority. And I could be totally bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like, whatever argument I make could be just a load of shit. But, it's saying with power and with authority, well, I'm an attorney and this isn't right or this isn't whatever.
Oh,
so
nice.
Things like that.
Oh, look at that.
Like if you're out and about.
You guys still party, right?
I don't. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I did, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When I first moved here, I partied pretty much from 2004 to at least
living the life,
like
right?
2017. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, we don't party anymore.
No.
Hey, but let me ask you, I saw that you were also part of I don't know if you still are or were part of the Latina Bar Association.
Yes, I am. I sure am.
The past president, I think Brianna, she's my niece.
Oh,
so
gosh,
yeah,
wow,
I love Brianna, and I saw that on your thing.
Yep.
I was like, oh, look at that.
Yes.
So she must know Brianna. So.
Absolutely.
And Allie.
I love it. I love that we have those organizations.
Yeah. And it's fairly new too, right?
It's fairly new. Yeah. Surprisingly, I actually need to become part of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. That's
okay.
I definitely want to be a part of that.
I didn't ask you that.
I know all the cuss words.
Just the right words.
Just the right ones, and had to bark orders like that. I got all the orders for you. But I
knew somebody said I need to like marry a Mexican so they can order me pozole.
That's easy,
right? Well, I mean, thank you for being here.
Oh,
thank you for spending time.
Yes.
I would say if you want now, let's do a little commercial here. But
right.
What kind of law you do and what kind of clients do you always look for and who do you help?
Okay. So I'm a personal injury attorney. My practice areas include car accidents, trucking accidents, rideshare accidents, which are huge here in Vegas, slip and falls, wrongful death, sexual assault, sex abuse. My client is everyone.
Okay.
Everyone is my client. If you're looking for an attorney who really wants to get to know you and add a very, very personal touch to you and your case and just be very hands-on, I would say that's me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle. Alfredo, we'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.